What's going on, everybody? Christopher Lopez here with the Beast Life 24/7 podcast. Now, real quick, you probably have seen my other channel. If you haven't, it's okay. I'll tell you exactly what it's about. My other channel is basically fitness, strength training, muscle building, fat loss for guys who are looking to get in shape and build more muscle and feel more confident, feel better about themselves, and be healthier for their family. That's my other channel. I started this one because as I approach 33, or approach 34, I'm 33 now. As I approach 34, I'm starting to see that life is more about lifting weight, more than just about lifting weights. It's more about family. It's more about relationships. It's more about happiness. It's more about cutting things out of your life that suck. And you know, that's why I'm starting this channel. So the other channel is training based. We'll talk a little training nutrition on this channel as well, as I do feel that, you know, everything starts in the gym. To me, everything, when my life did a 180, it's because I started working out. So that's my feeling, is if you're not working out and your life sucks, pick up some weights. Just do it. You will thank yourself later, and it will pay off dividends when it starts affecting the rest of your life. It will do more for you than any therapist, than any medication. My medication is the gym. My therapist is the iron, and that's just how I feel. I take out my frustrations. I have good days, and then I go lift, and I feel better. And I have bad days, and I go lift, and I feel better. So everything is rooted in the iron. Everything is rooted in lifting weights. Everything is rooted in working out. So if you're not doing that already, I urge you to go check out my other channel, Jersey Beast TV, or even check out my training blog, jerseybeast.tv, where I talk a little bit more about training, nutrition, and fat loss and muscle building and strength training for men. That said, this channel is about everything else. It's about life. It's about success. It's about mindset. It's about business. It's about how you can create the best life for yourself. Now, I'm not going to sit here and preach and tell you that I'm some multi-million-dollar guru and I, make 7 figures a month, or I drive a Lamborghini to work, or like all this bullshit you see on Facebook. I'm not that guy. I'm just a hardworking guy that owns a gym that wants people to live their best life and do better. And that's just me. By no means am I a millionaire. By no means am I, flaunting anything on Facebook. But I am a hard worker, and I have screwed up a lot. I've done some really, really stupid business things, and I've done some really, really smart business things. And I'm here to share with you how that's affected me, hopefully so you don't make the same mistakes. So welcome to the Beast Life 24/7 podcast. If you're a guy who wants to better their life, this is the show for you. In this video and in this audio recording and this podcast, what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about my story. I never really covered this in the past, mainly because when I started my first YouTube channel, started my first blog, I just hit the ground running and started talking about training and nutrition from the get-go. I didn't really introduce myself. I didn't really say this is what I'm about. I just started writing and shooting videos about training. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. I'm going to show you where I came from, what I'm about. This way you guys have an idea of who you're dealing with and how I can help. So that said, I'm 33 years old, born in 1984, born in Trenton, New Jersey, which is, south central New Jersey, I guess. And we come from a very humble house. There's two brothers, myself and 2 brothers. I have 2 brothers, 2 loving parents. And we didn't come from an extravagant family. By no means did we have money, but my parents are both hardworking. Very humble people, and they raised us the same way. We're not ones to brag. We're not ones to boast. Myself, I don't really like attention drawn to me. I don't even tell people it's my birthday. Like, I'm that guy. Like, I don't even, like, if some people tell me happy birthday, I feel weird. Like, so, that's how we were raised. We were raised very humble. But one thing that sticks out of my mind as a kid is that we didn't really have money. We didn't have money. Now, obviously, money is not everything, but it is a lot, right? It does help make life a little easier if you have it. So growing up, my parents sent us to private high schools. We went to Catholic school in middle school. We went to private high school for high school because it was either that or Trenton High. At the time, Trenton High School is still kind of bad. It's actually closed right now for a little bit, but it was very bad at the time. So they didn't want us going there. So they sacrificed a lot, and we got financial aid to go to private high schools. That said, we went to these private high schools in the hopes of getting into a good college. Now, I got into Boston University after I graduated. I was an average student. I never really applied myself. I fucked around quite a bit in high school. Like, I didn't really try. I remember a Spanish exam. You guys are gonna laugh. I had a Spanish exam one time, and it was like my final or something. And my professor at the time, who loved my older brother, my older brother was like a dream student because he was he was just very smart, and I was like the idiot athlete, I guess. So they knew that as teachers that had my brother knew I was like the opposite. Like I was lazy and I didn't want to work and I never read any of my English books and I don't even know how I got through high school. So long story short, oral exams for Spanish. The teacher speaking to me in Spanish. I have no idea what he's saying, and the only thing I could figure to muster in Spanish, the only words that I could put together and that actually made sense and like a legit sentence was "I have a penguin in my pants," and that's what I went with for every question. So I think we got 3 questions in, and he stopped speaking Spanish. He looked at me and he's like, "Seriously?" And then he just got up and walked away. I wasn't trying to be funny. I mean, it's funny now, but I was. It's like all that I could say. I didn't really know how to say anything else. So that's the kind of student I was. I was an idiot. I was kind of smart when I applied myself, but I was more of a smart ass than I was smart. So fast forward, I graduate high school. I don't even know how I graduated. And I get into Boston University for engineering. I had good enough grades to get into an engineering program at BU. I get through my first year. I get a couple D's and F's in physics and calculus. And they basically asked me not to come back. I lost my financial aid. My GPA wasn't high enough for me to continue to the next semester. So they basically asked me to leave. You can't switch your major. Your grades are not good enough. You're obviously not Boston University material, etc. So I get this letter in the mail, and I remember just feeling broken. I remember just feeling distraught and upset. And not at the fact that I failed out of college. I could care less about school. But it was more about the fact that I let my parents down. That they sacrificed everything, every penny they had to pay for whatever tuition they owed for private school to send us to a good college because they never went to college. So that's why we were pushed to go to a good college. And I failed and I fucked up and I messed up and I wasn't smart enough and I kept telling myself that I wasn't college material and that, it was just the biggest failure of my life. Now, granted, this was a blessing at the time, and I'm going to tell you why. I had chosen engineering as a major to make money out of college. I hated the fact of being poor. I hated the fact that we had to go rent a $2 video at the video store, those of you who remember video stores, with pennies and nickels. I hated the fact that we didn't have brand new, $100 sneakers. I hated the fact that when I got my first car, it wasn't a new car. Now, granted, I was not a spoiled brat kid, but when you're a kid and you're growing up and you see all these other people have nice things, like you don't know what their deal is. Half the time, people that have all these things, these nice cars and nice houses and whatever, they don't have money to pay for it. I mean, I see that now as an adult. But when you're a kid and you get made fun of because your sneakers, it takes a toll on you. So I hated feeling that way. So my mentality, my philosophy was, you know what? I'm going to sign up for a major in college where I come out making $80,000, $100,000 a year. And I'm not gonna have to worry about money ever again. That was a mistake. So I fail out of college. I'm miserable. I still remember getting that letter in the mail. I remember going to my fridge as a freshman, opening up the fridge, pulling out a 2-liter bottle of vodka and drinking it. Not like chugging it, but over the course of hours, I finished this bottle. I mean, I was so upset and so distraught that I let my parents down, that I let everybody else down. I came home, fat, sloppy slob, was drinking all the time, was smoking cigarettes, was eating whatever I wanted. I mean, I was fat. I was out of shape. So I came home, and the only thing that I could think to do was to start working out. I joined the local gym at the community college where I started to take classes. And, I started working out there. I lost about 60 pounds in about 6 months, not knowing what the fuck I was doing. I did have some guidance from certain books that I had picked up. But I started working out. I just started doing something. To take my mind off of it. Fell in love with bodybuilding, fell in love with working out, fell in love with lifting weights. And that's where it began for me. I became a personal trainer. And I started working, and I was about 18 at the time. I started working at a local gym in Hamilton. I was a personal trainer there, had a good clientele. At the time, I was taking courses at a community college in TV production. I needed a little bit of break from the numbers of calculus and physics. And I've realized engineering just wasn't for me, obviously, because I wasn't good at it. And I didn't want to apply myself. So, needless to say, I was working at GNC, working at the gym. I was getting in great shape. I felt really awesome. I was like the man at the time. And, I needed an internship to finish my degree, to get my associate's degree at the community college. So I remember talking to one of my clients. His son at the time was a technician for a feature film post-production company in Midtown Manhattan in New York City. He said, call my son. He may have an opportunity for you. I called him up. I pestered him for like a couple weeks. Finally got an opportunity to sit down. We were from the same area. I trained his dad, so we already had a little bit of a rapport to begin the conversation. And I wound up getting an unpaid internship for almost a year. It was like 8 or 9 months. I was going into the city 3 times a day on my own dime, not getting lunch paid for, not getting my commute paid for, not getting anything. All right, but they saw that I was showing up 3 times a week, coming in early, staying late, and just making it happen. Long story short, they gave me a job. I worked there for about 5 years. I was involved in computers quite a bit. I was a post-production technician, an Avid technician, which Avid is basically a post-production editing software that major motion pictures use to edit their movies together. They no longer use film. It's all digital. So, became really good at computers, but after 5 years of working in the industry, I got really, really tired. It was long days. I mean, I was getting paid salary. We were not getting compensated for overtime. I was putting in 16 hours a day easy. I was traveling 3, 4, 5 times a month. And I just felt tired, just felt haggard. And I felt upset that I was building somebody else's dream and not my own. Wasn't into it anymore. Wasn't into the hours. I felt undervalued. And, I worked with awesome people there. It was probably the most fun I've ever had, was working there, because it was just a fun environment. But it was time to move on. So I give my 2 weeks notice. I basically leave my apartment, tell my landlord, yo, man, I'm leaving. I lost my job. I can't stay. He said, no problem. So I moved back in with my parents. I start working at a gym that I worked at previously as a personal trainer. Started working there. I got the head trainer job. Wasn't making any money. They wouldn't let me change anything in the training program to make it better. So I opted to leave. Now remember, at the time, and when I was working in New York City, I was still training every day. I was still working out every day. I had a couple online coaching clients, but I wasn't in it, like I was when I was working at the gym. But I was still in shape. I was still in great shape. I was still working out myself. Still knew what I was doing. So since that gym, going back to that gym, they wouldn't let me change anything. I basically said, you know what? I'm going to start looking for a space. I'm going to open up my own gym. We'll see how this goes. So I find a space in Jackson, New Jersey, after 6 months of working at this gym. And it was the perfect size. It wasn't a lot of money. I mean, it was like a glorified storage unit. Like it was 700 or 800 square feet, had a bathroom and a heater, and that was it. So we threw a bunch of weights in there that I bought off of Craigslist, and the dream started. Okay. The hang up was this, though. In Jackson, New Jersey, I did not know one person. But the reason I moved to Jackson, the reason why I moved the gym to Jackson, or opened the gym in Jackson, was because, number one, there was a bunch of schools. So I wanted to work with kids, high school and middle school and elementary school. There's 2 of each. A lot of kids, a lot of athlete programs, a lot of athletics. And, there were not a lot of gyms in Jackson at the time, so I figured it was a golden opportunity. But I remember going with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, at the time, and she basically was like, oh, this space is really nice. Like, she was being sarcastic. It was a dump. And that's why we called it the Pit, because it was like basically like a pit. Like it was awful. But fast forward 5, almost 6 years, we're in a new space now. We have more than double the space, or almost triple the space that we did in the old place. And things are going really well. But I want to leave you with this. Okay, now that you have my background, you have to understand something. All right, if you're a guy and you feel like you're in a shitty spot and nothing's going right for you, find that one thing that is going right. Everybody's got at least 1 or 2 things that are going pretty good. And backtrack. All right? You're probably wondering why I told you my story today. The reason is because I want you to know that everything is connected. If you backtrack from where I am now to when I failed out of college, it's all fucking connected. Look at this, okay? I wouldn't be in the space now that I'm in now if I didn't have the previous gym, right? That's a no-brainer. I wouldn't have the previous gym if I was not dissatisfied with working at the gym that I was working at after I left my job in New York City. Right? And I wouldn't have the previous gym if I didn't know how to build websites and build sales pages and do YouTube videos and do things to get people in the gym. And the only reason why I know how to do that stuff is because of my technician job. I was working with computers all the time. I was around computers. I learned how to do file transfers. I learned which helps you in building websites, right? If you don't know how to build a website, if you have a general idea of file transfers and FTPs and download and upload and WordPress, you can figure it out. And that job set the stage for my computer literacy now. I mean, I'm pretty good at it. I'm not as good as I was, but I'm good than most people, better than most people because of my experience with computers, working in that field for 5 years. And I wouldn't be at that job if I was disgruntled at working at the gym, not making money, and I needed, I needed credits and I needed an internship to complete my diploma. And I wouldn't be in that situation of being a personal trainer, being in shape, taking community college courses if I didn't fail out of college. Guaranteed if I made it through that engineering program, I'd be a fat sloppy engineer, pissed off at the world, unhappy because I was crunching numbers all day and designing things. Funny how things work, right? So I urge you to find that one or two solid things that are happening for you and look back and basically, see how it connects to the stuff, the good stuff and the bad stuff that happened to you in the past. Because it's all fucking connected. It's all connected. And I urge you to do that. So hopefully you guys have a little bit of an idea of what I'm about. Hopefully you guys have a little bit of an idea of what this channel is going to be about. I urge you to subscribe. Please subscribe. And I'm currently working on the website Beast Life 24/7, which is going to be a new blog. It's not currently up yet, but when it is, I will let you know. So feel free to visit that site as we progress through videos, because there will be content up on that site. We will be covering new podcasts, new blog posts, things that I think about, things that I think will help you, things that I think will make you a better man, make you stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, and ultimately give you the life that you deserve. Listen, guys, I screwed up quite a bit. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. And if I can improve somebody's life in some aspect, then I'm doing my job. I want to thank you for tuning in for the first podcast of Beast Life 24/7, and we'll hear you guys in the next one. You can find this podcast. I'm going to be posting it up on SoundCloud. All right, so look for Beast Life 24/7 on SoundCloud, and that's where you're going to be able to find it. Thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you in the next episode.